All right, guys, welcome back to Above Ground World News. We are live, and we got some crazy news to get into tonight. It's like the news cycle just gets worse by the minute. We're taking a look at the weather right now, and it looks just like every day we look at it, the storms are firing up in the very exact same places. But we got some crazy headlines we got to get into right out the bat. So up here in Oregon, officials start work removing barrels labeled with ancient orange chemicals from the bottom of a lake. The Environmental Protection Agency this week began removing barrels recently discovered at the bottom of Wallowa Lake, I don't know how to pronounce that, marked as containing chemicals. So FEMA Region 10. So there was 12 100-gallon drums. The barrels are labeled as containing either 240 or 245T, commonly known as Agent Orange, which was widely used during the Vietnam War and lightly linked to a number of illnesses, including cancer. While the cleanup begins, officials said the drinking water source for the city was temporarily switched to backup. Well, how long has it not been on backup? So EPA Region 10, you better go get checked. Wow, so that's a pretty bad one, but it gets worse, man. It gets worse from here. So we know that New Zealand's been a target. We know that all the billionaires are buying up land down in New Zealand and are building their underground bunkers where they're getting ready to dump. It's called a 1080 drop plan for South Island Forest. And we're talking like 220 million acres of land. The government has planned for a massive 1080 drop over South Island Forest this autumn in response to what is called a widespread mega mast. The Department of Conservation says there will be heavy seeding in New Zealand's forests this year, the biggest in more than 40 years, with the most set for South Island Forest. That would provide a bonanza of food for native species, but would also fuel rodent and stroke plagues that threaten native birds and wildlife. So this is a major alert here. Let me get this going on. So what is this stuff, man? This is poison. They're going to be dumping out poison pellets over millions of acres. They're getting ready to clear the land. You know, so there's a lot of controversy on this, and I would see why. So the controversial poison is back in the spotlight after deer died following an airdrop operation of 1080 targeting possums. Now this is going to kill everything. If your pet gets out here and eats like an animal from out here, it's going to be killed. You know, if this is killing rodents, it's going to kill people. It's going to get into the water aquifers. I mean, this is just another stupid idea by the powers that be. So this is going to wipe out pretty much everything. 1080 can also kill native reptiles, birds, fish, insects. Dogs can be particularly at risk. And it's a painful death. Kind of like what they're doing to everybody nowadays. This is all new world stuff here, new world order. Thanks out there in the super chat. I get to see who did that. Dane. Hey, Diane, thanks. So while that's going on, you got an entire Jersey Shore concert series canceled after discovery of a threatened shorebird nest. Just the things they do are just crazy, man. So they found a nest in the same area used for Sandy Hook Foundation Summer Beach Concert Series. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service recommends a 1,000-meter buffer to protect the nest. Regulations ban any activity, including outdoor concerts, that occur within 1,000 meters. Wonder if they'll pocket the money. You know, anything with the Sandy Hook Foundation, they must have made a lot of money on that. So much money, they were going to have a concert, now they're going to have to move it over some eggs. Pretty crazy. So it gets worse here. It just keeps getting worse, man. Every day the news cycle is just crazy. Floating cell towers are the next step for 5G. Terrestrial 5G networks will support high-altitude balloons and drones and could someday merge with them. As the world races to deploy the speedy 5G mobile network on the ground, some companies remain focused on floating cell phone towers in the sky. During the final session of the 6th annual Brooklyn 5G Summit on Thursday, Silicon Valley and telecom leaders discussed whether aerial drones and balloons could finally begin providing commercial mobile phone and internet service from the air. They're going to inundate us with millimeter waves, with microwave radiation. You're not going to be able to think for yourself anymore. Probably wouldn't be too hard to drop them out of the sky. Yeah, they got this giant wing thing that's going to be going around pushing out the 5G. You know, they say 5G can only travel short distances. How's it going to work when it's up in the air? They can travel miles. They're lying about the distances. They travel much farther than what they say. They don't need to be cutting down all these trees. It's all a lie. Another person, or is this an old article? Yeah, this is an old one. I don't know how I got this one in here. I got a lot of articles here. Okay, so here's an article examines chronic wasting disease in Pennsylvania deer, whether it could spread to humans. So there's quite a few zones out here where all the deer have this chronic wasting disease. You can't eat that stuff. So you got to have your deer tested before you process it. So this was published on Friday. The Pennsylvania Game Commission wildlife biologists are taking track of the fatal disease. A wildlife biologist worked in the northwestern Westmoreland County town of Bolivar to collect the brain stems of deer harvested during rifle season. It affects members of the deer family, whitetail, mule deer, moose, and elk. The disease, which is progressive and always fatal, causes weight loss, behavioral changes in animals before they ultimately leading to their death. So yeah, man, just more news of all the stuff that's going on here. Here's another article. Fireflies, monarch butterflies are dying off in Chicago, and they want to say it's due to climate change. Experts say. Who's the expert? Is it Bill Nye? Is it the non-science guy? Is it the what's his flop? The Al Gore? Is that the experts? No, they're not experts. It's climate control. A loss of biodiversity in Chicago could have a big impact. One expert said if we are really going to lose insects from the region and bats, we'd have less food to eat and more expensive food to eat. Well, that's where the GMO stuff comes in. That's where the Franken food, the 3D printed, the lab meat, the Petri dish meat comes in. 1 million plant and animal species could go extinct in the coming years. The new United Nations report warns. Well, they're talking about us. They're not only talking about the butterflies, they're talking about us. The UN is no good. We have 19 active wildfires burning in Arizona. We also have tons up in Canada. like monster ones. And when we get to the worldview map, you're going to see that. We got a dog barking in the background. Must be a deer out on the back porch or something. And we got this guy here. Weather Nation posted this video of this guy floating in the poison floodwaters with a beer. This comes out of Indiana. Man, you gotta be proud to be doing that. I mean, man, he don't even know what he's in. Come on, guys, straighten up, stay sober, get your act together. All right, guys, California lawmakers agreed to health benefits for immigrants. This is just nuts, man. You got all these people in California living in tent cities, and now they want to take more of your money for people that shouldn't even be here. So if their incomes are low enough to qualify for the program to get health benefits, state officials estimate that the group will be 90,000 people at a cost of $98 million per year. That's a lot of money per person. And they want to spend $213 billion of the state and federal tax money over the next year. So there goes your money, man. California is just going completely wacko. And we've had flooding, heavy rain, small earthquake, and 2 EF1 tornadoes hit northeast Ohio in the last 24-hour span. Downpours over the weekend are bringing flooding to a wide swath in northeast Ohio. Residents woke up to their yards saturated in water, streets barely recognizable. Well, we knew this was coming. We let people know a couple of weeks ago. Chicago, Ohio Valley, you guys are all the next target. U.S. forces Korea in lifting its curfew for 90 days to see if troops can behave. The U.S. military lifted its long-standing curfew for the troops on the Korean peninsula. The roughly 28,000 service members can behave. I guess they're getting in trouble. Quit starting the wars, bring them home. All right, we got tons of recalls. On top of all that news, half that news is hard to even swallow. So we got ragu being recalled. Select varieties of pasta sauce recalled over possible plastic fragments. Hey, thanks there, Doug. The ragu, chunky tomato, garlic, and onion. Man, that's just one of them. There's tons of them here. Oh, we'll get into this one in a minute. Mound City tornado related to EF0 with peak winds of 70 miles an hour. This actually went through yesterday. That's yesterday's news. We've had recall alert on raspberries due to the potential norovirus contamination. It's come out this morning at 8 o'clock. A Washington company has issued a recall of its frozen red raspberries. Radar Farms from Bellingham, Washington announced last week that its frozen red raspberries that come in the 12-ounce bag have been recalled for potential norovirus contamination. I'll put all these links in the description. You think you're eating healthy, but you're not. Over 246,000 pounds of breakfast wraps recalled because they may have small rocks. Ever wonder what the little grits are every once in a while you get? Oh, they're rocks. So this is a nationwide over fears that bacon may be contaminated with extraneous materials, especially small rocks. So don't break a tooth on this processed food. I think that was all. Nope, I got one more recall here. I mean, there's probably more if you search them. You never find out till way later. Hopefully I can stop this thing from loading. 4,600 cases of Pillsbury flour recalled over possible E. coli contamination. So, I mean, this should just get everybody more and more involved in planting your own window gardens. Hey, thanks, Sarah Christie. Much love out there. So, yeah, man, the food's not safe. It's only going to get worse. They're only going to get more expensive. We have 260 plus bottlenose dolphins dead. Strandings from Florida to Louisiana. So there must be some sonar stuff going on. Military operations out here. So we're just getting more and more articles of these things washing up on the beaches. We had zombie deer in Pennsylvania. Algae blooms make water unsafe for dogs at Lake Erie beaches. So crazy stuff, man. Bad news night. So Oregon tackles climate change with cap and trade proposal. So instead of taking it to the people who are really doing it, they're just going to come up with a bunch of nonsense to take more of your tax money and call it climate change. Can't get the chemtrails out of the throat today. This is actually an article from last year. The Australian company is manipulating our weather. For over 5 decades in Australia, the study of clouds, rain, and atmosphere has been largely hidden from the public as a secretive network of government agencies and private business interests continue to manipulate the weather around us for their personal benefit. We all know this is going on. We show all this stuff you got. Look, they're even showing clouds seeding from the boats. Ion fertilization, artificial upwelling, alkaline addition, biochar, afforestation, CO2 air capture. They got quite a few of them down there. Radiation management. Man, I can't talk tonight. Space mirrors. What the hell's a space mirror going to do? And they've been creating rain. We show all the companies that steer the atmospheric rivers, all this stuff. So here he's got some articles here. Plane vapor trails above Allendale. Scientists explain new way to make it rain. I mean, we probably went over almost all these articles. Storm Fury goes down under. But I'll leave this link in the description. So let's go ahead and jump into some maps. Here, let's take a look. Something very interesting up here in Canada, up here in Alberta. And we can see several fires. I mean, these are big fires. And when you check the layers here, it almost looks like microwaves in the smoke. I've never seen that before, in the smoke. Could be a new type of weapon. And look at the color. It looks like sulfuric or some kind of something like that. The smoke is an odd color. But check this out. If you go back to yesterday, look how quiet it was. Really quiet. But you do see the heavy spraying operation up here. And then you're going to notice when I click the layers that the aerosols go right over the spots that just got ignited. These were ignition points. You can see the heavy trails. And then you're going to find out. So if you go, look, they're spreading some big old fat liners up here in Canada. There's actually a big X right over the target zone. Get it right here on the right layer. And then look, you just go up one day. It goes from nothing, aerosols, and then this. You could still see Is that where the aerosols were? Let me, hold on. Are them other fires? Yeah, there might be other fires, them two fat ones there, but definitely sprayed and the fires ignited. So it looks like they've had accelerant put on them. So more burns going on up here. And this is a massive fire up here. Let's go ahead and check Arizona. I know they got a few fires down here. See if I can get that to load. Let me try to get the radar loading too here while we're waiting on that. Yeah, there's a lot of headlines that go over there. That's all stuff people need to know about, man. You wouldn't know they're getting ready to poison the forest. You wouldn't know about on the mainstream news about the ancient orange being pulled up out of the lake. I'm really wondering if the local people out around there even know. Alright, we'll let that load. Oh, I should have paused that. It might be why we're running a little funky here. Let me get that over on that. So yeah, some of the fires are really little. I can see quite a few here. What we could do is we could add the fire layer, and that'll show us where all the fires are. Let's go over to fires and thermal anomalies. Click that. And we'll let that load populate. Nice crowd out there. Much love everybody out there that watches us here on YouTube, over on D Live, over on Facebook, Twitch. We had to add a few more in there. So really this is only showing a few fires so far. So like I can see a little bit of fire smoke here and there. I don't know if there's 19 fires, but at least that's what they're saying. We got fires over here by Chico. And then we got one going down in Southern California. Really, I'm all in the green. I don't know why I'd be buffering. If it's buffering right now, that's YouTube. YouTube hiding the truth. I mean, more and more people are going to be leaving YouTube. So, yeah, so you got a couple of fires over here in California. And then look up here in Alberta and Canada. And like tons of fires up here. Sorry, I'm doing all that zooming in and out. Tons of aerosols being deployed up there. We got a demon face in the clouds right here. Always get some of them. Just tells you what they're doing. Yeah, I can't get rid of the chemtrail cough. I've had it for months. It'd go away and then it comes back a little bit, then it goes away. It depends on how heavy the aerosols are outside. We got heavy spraying operations down here in Argentina again. The weather patterns are just freaked out. Clouds are going the wrong way. Storms are doing things they shouldn't be doing. Heavy cloud seeding operations all over the planet. Bunker fuel being deployed out in the Pacific, changing the weather patterns. I'm just kind of doing a quick go over right here. Tons of floods going on over here, and you can see the massive spraying operations. We'll let that load up a little bit. Yeah, the article might have been, 19 fires since the beginning of the year. I don't know. That was just a headline on it. We got a H. We got segmented sprays. We're trying to get that to load. Hopefully it'll load. Back a couple, I think it was back in November, December. A lot of you guys have been here watching these shows. But if you remember, Portugal, their radars went down. Their radars went down, and there was not one cloud seeding operation. Somebody sent me an article from Portugal saying they couldn't spray the chemtrails because they didn't have the radar. So we know if they don't have the radar, they can't spray the trails. So they had perfectly clear skies for like a month until they got the radars fixed. So yeah, heavy aerosols up here over the UK, getting bombarded. Crystal clear skies over here. We know they're doing the rain enhancement over Tehran, so them are all man-made clouds. You got big X's being deployed over Somalia. I can't even talk tonight, man. Got the chemtrail headache. The Yellow Sea is getting bombarded. I want to go down here and look at New Zealand because they've definitely been targeted quite a few times this year. They're actually pulling the atmospheric river up into southern Australia. Probably getting ready to fabricate a cyclone right here or something. Yeah, they're definitely dropping some weird stuff out here. We had the ship tracks out here a couple weeks ago. And of course you got Miles Research Company based out of there. You got the Australian rain project that we uncovered yesterday. We need to look and see where the ship tracks, if they're out here today. Let me load that layer and see if they're still deploying the bunker fuel. Yeah, it's pretty loud out here, man. We got so many little tree frogs around here. It's just crazy. I did do a little videotape. I'll upload it over on the backup channel tomorrow. Just wanted to pick up the sounds, but it's got a little wind noise. Maybe I'll redo it. Yeah, I can already see the mess of ships out here. They're dropping Pandora fog out here. Up here too, same place. See if we can get this to load. Let me take out the fire later. Oh man, they're everywhere out here. So heavy ship deployment still out here in the Pacific. All these yellow lines, that's bunker fuel. Bunker fuel is the most toxic emissions on the planet. It's used for cloud seeding. It's called cloud brightening, which are really not brightening the clouds. They're making the clouds reflective, plus they're dumping tons of PM 2.5s in the air, basically. Nanoparticulates, carbon fiber clouds. Alright, so we know they're out there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the radars. We've seen some crazy stuff yesterday. Let me go ahead and put that on the 200 frames. Alright, trying to get this to go here. Okay, there we go. Let me go ahead and put the watches and warnings up and see what kind of crazy weather we got going on. It's going to take this thing a minute to look at all the rain. You know, this is from the ship tracks. This is from the aerosols being deployed. This is from the cell phone towers, the NextRad stations, the water generating plants. We've had tornado warnings there in Mississippi, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, not South Dakota, but Kansas and Nebraska. Maybe Colorado too. I'll have to wait for that to go back through. Now the big target here over the next couple of weeks is going to be Chicago, or the Illinois, Ohio, Kentucky. Yeah, tons of tornado warnings going off here. Let me load something up so we can see who's getting it. I don't know why they can't make this where everything is all in the same place like they used to, but they make it harder, and then they don't even show you the real water vapor map. So Pueblo, Colorado had a tornado warning at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. So that one's definitely expired. Alright, so everything is pretty much floods and thunderstorms. Right now we had a tornado warning for, wow, it keeps disappearing, for around Nashville, Tennessee, Colorado, Wilmington, Ohio. This is going to be one of the biggest years for tornadoes ever. Alright, so we're letting this go ahead and go through here. Alright, I pretty much got all them. Let's go ahead and take that off so I can just study the map here for a little bit. And that shouldn't slow it down, but it did. It's like now it's not doing anything. Yeah, the Weather Channel won't talk about the floods. They got ice pilots or something on the TV. They don't give out true warnings. What is wrong with this thing? It's like, there it goes. Now it's going to start going. Wow, that was weird. Mainstream, they call it, you know, it's programming. They want to program people to think a certain way. They want to program people to think everything is, you know, these storms are following the same path as yesterday. It looks like the exact same line. What is wrong with this thing? It's not loading. We're buffering really bad. I'm even getting the will of death. Alright, so I don't know what's going on with this map, but it's definitely messing up. So we got 90-degree angles in the rain. Got like the hammerhead down here. What is wrong with this stupid thing? It ain't. That's the only thing I have loaded, and it's not working. Thanks there, Patrick. Much love out there. Anyway, yeah, we're just waiting on this thing to load. It don't want to load. Let me see if this one's loaded. This one isn't even loading. What is going on here? The stream is back in the green, but the weather maps aren't working. Thank you. Wow, neither one of my radar maps are loading. Let me pause that. Okay, it is paused. We'll come back to that. Let's just go check a couple things here while we're waiting on that. Yeah, I'd be all up for that out there in the chat. Let's take a look at the mimic. And we go over this mimic map. This is the rivers of the sky. This is what they're steering to flood countries out. This is what they're modifying to drought countries out. It's all controlled. Yeah, everything is backwards. You know, whatever they say, it means the exact opposite. That's why, you know, when they, like the Clean Water Act, that's nothing about clean water. That's about fracking and dumping fracking water into your water aquifers. They name things to fool the people. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on here. So it looks like they're blocking the atmospheric river. And we got the shipping operations right there, right inside that. And then you got them down here in the south. Now this atmospheric river is going right where it's supposed to, up into the Aleutian Island chain. But down here you have like a crisscross pattern of water vapor. That's just telling me there's some kind of electromagnetics coming out and over. Probably bouncing off one of the BLF transmitters. And then turned into low frequencies. But this whole atmospheric river here is not flowing as it should. This thing should be swirling, going from east to west. These should be swirling from west to east, and these should be swirling from west to east. But they're not. They're all being pulled and drug over. These are all being manipulated. There's nothing normal about any. These don't look anything like. You can go back to the archives and load up any one of them, and they do not look like this. You can see them pulling that atmospheric river down into New Zealand, and then right up into Australia, going completely backwards of the way the atmospheric river should be flowing. This is a rain project. This stuff should be swirling, and it's not. Mass manipulation going on with the mimic map. Alright, we got this one loaded now. Look at the cloud cover. How much cloud cover do you think is natural on this map? Really, hardly none of it. Some of these storms, they've been cloud seeded. But all this is fabricated cloud cover. You can see all the aerosols being deployed up here in Washington, Oregon. I mean, they just keep bombarding them. And then that gets over into the Midwest, and they pull up the moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. It hits all the cloud seeding coming out of the Bajas, out of Mexico, and boom, you got thunderstorms. It's just a cycle. They keep recycling. Look at the same spraying operation over the Bajas. Now they're doing double whammies here. They got the ship tracks and the chemtrails. We're going to zoom in on a couple of these because this is 100% evidence that these are man-made storms. I mean, look at the X's in the sky. These are not water vapor. That's a lie. Contrails are a lie. It takes chemical reactions to create a contrail. And even if it was a contrail, the jet fuel is poisonous. It's creating, it's climate control, man. This is blocking the radiation from coming in. It's trapping the heat in. This is the climate change right here. We're looking at it. Look at this. They just keep hitting the same areas. So everybody up here probably has a chest infection, mold growing everywhere. They're laying down the accelerants for the fires that are going to be coming. And it goes all the way up into BC. So just a mass spraying operation over Washington, Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, British Columbia. And we can go all the way down here in Mexico and the Bajas. This is the secondary spraying mission. And what they do is they mix this in. They're using the NexRads and cell phone towers to pull the atmospheric river up. Hits all this cloud seeding. You have flooding rains. 20% more rain than you'd ever normally get, if not more. You go look at all the technologies about steering the atmospheric river, and they tell you how much percentage more you're going to get out of the rain, and that's what we're getting. That's why we're flooding. So you had an initial spray that created these storms, and now they're spraying for the next set of storms. So as soon as the cloud seeds hit the mountains, you get thunderstorms. I had a weird flash over there in Texas in the dark. So yeah, here's the initial sprays. They're spraying into that storm also. So it's just never ending. Let's go over here over Texas, take a look. There's that little dot, little bright dot right there. Yeah, we've been seeing more heat lightning. That's because of all the heavy metal particles up in the sky. All this is fake. Over Mississippi, Alabama, that's all fake clouds going up into Kentucky, Tennessee. The whole Ohio Valley is being bombarded with poisonous chemtrails. And that's what they are. They're not contrails. It's not even geoengineering anymore. We could call this climate change right here. We're going to call it what it is, though. It's chemtrails. Man-made. And even the jet fuel is poisonous. They're mixing up different batches. They admit to it. Heavy aerosols over the Carolinas, Georgia, Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York. Everybody's getting into the action. Storms that are firing off don't look anything like a normal storm. They've gone too far. The weather patterns are just messed up right now. The jet stream's all screwed up. The atmospheric river's all screwed up. And it's not what they're saying it is. It's been induced. Yeah, tons of aerosol, just the whole place, man. We should be having a break in the weather. But no, they're going to make us wait. Let's check Florida. I didn't check them. Yeah, if you don't have the aerosols today. Whoa, that's weird. So you got a weird spraying operation way down here. And the clouds are going the opposite way. Like, that's some funky stuff going right there with that cloud. Check that out. So the clouds are being sucked to the chemtrails. That's just crazy cloud right there. I don't know what is going on with that. Wonder if this is some kind of weather weapon right here at the bottom of the screen, if you guys can see that. That is nuts. It almost looks like off and on sprayers. Wonder if that's some silver iodide rockets being deployed. Something is definitely going on down here. See, every bit of the aerosols turned into a thunderstorm. So you got huge spraying over the Florida, Caribbeans, the Leeward Islands, Gulf of Mexico, Mexico. Everybody's getting hit. Try that for a second here. You know, now we got the man, that's gonna be too big, won't be able to see. Gotta pick up these ship tracks. So now we're gonna see the ship operations in motion. You can see the white lines. If that's coming in clear enough here on YouTube, they may be filtering it down. I know we're on D Live, you probably can see it during the live show. If not, you gotta wait for the video to process. You know, it's crazy. The live streaming over on D Live is totally clear most of the time. Nothing like YouTube. YouTube comes out all blurry most of the time. Yeah, so huge shipping operation. You can actually see they're affecting the jet stream winds. That's what the ships are doing out here. That's part of it. The winds are going down underneath the ship tracks. Like they're going that way and then they hit the ship tracks and they go down under it. It looks like the same thing up in the north. They're going up to it and then they go up and over it. So here's the northern shipping operation. And then here's the southern. And you got the chemtrails going in there too. Complete madness. Anyway, guys, they're buffering us out here. We're going to go ahead and call this a show. I want to thank everybody that shares this information out, because YouTube keeps us hid, man. They do. All right, guys. Anyway, much love. God willing, we'll be back here tomorrow. And anyway, much love, guys. Be ready. Get your gardens going. Get spare food. Gotta prep, man. Everybody's got to try to be as self-sufficient as you can. Do not depend on the government. They can't be trusted. Anyway, guys, much love. Let's rise.